Hey, what's up, guys? I'm here to give you a video, and I think this video may be uploaded tomorrow or finish it up tomorrow. Um, because of school, so I'm gonna have to get probably won't be able to get this upload tomorrow. I'm gonna talk about. You see, I didn't know what I wanted to make a video, and I thought I'd make the video on biggest wrestling fails. Now, wrestling has had a lot of success. They've succeeded with a lot of guys that became big, like John Cena, Randy Orton, Triple H, unfortunately, Undertaker, obviously, Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle, Daniel Bryan, I think is pretty big right now. CM Punk, let's see, Rey Mysterio, Kane, I think has been big, but there's some times when they failed him. A bunch of guys, and even TNA, you got Bobby Roode right now. I think Bad Influence are kind of like a big in the tag division, but in their own way, they've been fails. Um, yeah, but there's a bunch of successes, but there's a bunch of failures, and I'm gonna talk about those failures because I think they need to be expressed. And some of it isn't WWE's fault, some of it's the superstars' fault, and some of it is WWE's fault, and they could have prevented that from happening. So I'm gonna go through each guy, and I think I'm gonna add guys because now I'm just thinking of guys in my head right now. The Nexus, new and old Nexus. I'm gonna talk about the old one first because that was kind of the old Nexus came. I remember watching this. It was John Cena versus CM Punk, and Wade Barrett had just won NXT, and then there was all the other failed. And then there was all the other guys that didn't win. Daniel Bryan, of course, Skip Sheffield, um, David Otunga, Darren Young, Michael Tava. Yeah, we have Wade Barrett. Oh, and Justin Gabriel and Heath Slater. They were the main. They were all in NXT season one. Um, and they wreaked havoc for weeks. They attacked Cena a bunch of times. Um, they got involved into a WWE Championship match. Like everyone was looking over their shoulders when they saw what when the Nexus were around. I remember they even attacked John Morrison backstage, Evan Bourne. They attacked everybody. They didn't just attack baby faces. They attacked heels like they did attack Punk that night. They attacked Edge, Chris Jericho. Um, those heels. If they had who else have they attacked as was heel? I remember they attacked. They did attack the Hulk Dynasty, Tyson Kidd, and David Hulk Smith, also known as D.H. Smith. I'm trying to think who else did they attacked other heels? Dolph Ziggler, MVP. So they have attacked a lot of guys. And I think what kind of killed Nexus kind of was at SummerSlam. Oh, they attacked Bret Hart too. That was a big deal. Um, yeah, but at SummerSlam, you had them lo- go against Team WWE, being John Cena, Edge, Chris Jericho, John Morrison, R-Truth, which my uncle, by the way, saw R-Truth today by the airport, which is kind of cool. Um, R-Truth, Bret the Hitman Hart, so it was and Daniel Bryan because he ended up getting kicked out of the Nexus because in real life he got released. But yeah, and also that kind of was failing it too. I think Bryan in the group he could have done a lot. Like people talk about how yeah, but I'll get there when I get there. But Daniel Bryan not being in the group would have helped it a lot. I think it would have been the same maybe, but you don't know. Yeah, it could have been good, could have been bad because I think Bryan. I remember he's like, "You are not better than me, John." He would like yelled at Cena when I'm doing that attack, and I thought that was sick. But the Nexus should have won, beaten Team WWE. I think that really would have solidified them as a big group coming into the WWE. Would have made them look like a threat. Like the Shield won their first match. The Wyatt family, well, they're not really, I guess, haven't been a tag 6-man tag, but they think I need that big win too. But the Shield won their first match. I think the Nexus should have won their first match, but no, they lost to overpowered John Cena. Um, yeah, that was complete bullshit. They should have won there, but then they kind of redeemed themselves. But then they lost Dale and Young, a member. I think, that, yeah, and they just showed like a weak link. Like I remember everyone was a weak link, and it showed like who the link with that the weak link was Dale and Young. Um, and then Skip Sheffield ended up getting injured, and he was out until he became Ryback. Um, so that kind of hurt them because he did that devastating clothesline. But then they attacked the Undertaker. They I remember this because I went to the 900th episode of Raw. They beat Randy Orton, John Cena, Sheamus, Edge, and Chris Jericho in a 5-on-5 match. Um, but then they kind of looked weak. I remember it was Randy Orton versus John Cena on a table match, and Cena and Orton fought them all off, so that's bad. And then they had the chance to give Wade Barrett the WWE Championship. Said it made sense why they would give it to Orton, but I think Barrett deserved the WWE Championship more to make the Nexus look strong. And then you had the match with John Cena versus Wade Barrett. John Cena wins, of course. The Nexus is exiled, and if John Cena loses, he has to join the Nexus. And then John Cena lost, and that actually could have been something great. John Cena beating the Nexus, that would have made a great way to turn him heel, or at least torture him. But it really wasn't that torturous, I don't think. I mean, it would have been more torture if he had to wear the Nexus shirt, but Bayley didn't think of it till like the last episode before he was out of the group. And he really was just, he didn't come out to Nexus music, nothing. He was just kind of, there were points where he was still John Cena, but there were points where he wasn't John Cena. Like, I think they should have had John Cena. I mean, they did do some good things with it, but they didn't. I think John Cena being in the Nexus should have lasted a little while longer. And then you had Nexus then ended up losing John Cena. Like Wade Barrett had at Survivor Series, it was Free or Fired. Randy Orton versus John Cena for the WWE Champion. No, Randy Orton versus Wade Barrett for the WWE Championship with John Cena as the special guest referee. Wade Barrett wins. John Cena is free from the Nexus. And if Randy Orton wins, John Cena is fired because John Cena had to follow orders from Wade Barrett that he'd be fired. That right there, I think, is where you should have made Nexus look strong. Have Wade Barrett win the WWE Championship, and then have John Cena turn heel and join Nexus. I think that would have made Nexus really strong. And a heel John Cena in the Nexus would have made that group interesting. And now that I think about it, though, the Nexus did get the Tag Team Championships. I forgot about that. John Cena and David Otunga ended up defeating Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre, but then it got switched around to Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel, but they didn't really do anything with the Tag Team Championships, and mostly the reason was because they didn't have a strong tag division back then, so now I think that that could have been, that was probably why. And then you had John Cena. But then after Cena was out of the Nexus, then I think Nexus kind of started to die. Because then John Cena, week after week, took out every member of Nexus. And they did add Husky Harris and Michael McGillicuddy, which Husky Harris is known as Bray Wyatt today, and Michael McGillicuddy today is known as Curtis Axel. Yeah, they did add them to the Nexus, and still, it didn't do anything. John Cena just took him out week after week. He got his hands first on McGillicuddy, McGillicuddy. He got his hands on Heath Slater. He took McGillicuddy out in the backstage locker room, and then he FU'd him, Heath Slater through the announcer's table. And then he took out, who did he take out after? Oh, he took out Justin Gabriel in the parking lot. And then he got his hands on Husky Harris in a hotel room. He got his hands on David Otunga in like a match, just squashed him in. Yeah, and it also made David Otunga look more like a joke when John Cena joined the group because he was embarrassed every week. What else though? And then Nexus the old Nexus pretty much died when John Cena beat Wade Barrett at TLC, and then it was just done. So the old Nexus was a fail, and I think the thing that made it the mostly the fail was I understand you have a leader of the group and you have to make your leader look strong, but no one else in the group really mattered. It was just kind of Wade Barrett's backup people to get like his lackey to get the WWE Championship, and even admitted that when he joined the Core. Um, and I'll admit to you, I think that should have not have happened. I think they should have made other guys matter, like Justin Gabriel, Heath Slater, Otunga, Skip Sheffield. Like, you could have had them go out in their own separate feuds. Like, the Rollins and Reigns are kind of doing that, and Ambrose are kind of doing that. But I think a better example would be Evolution, which consisted of Batista, Ric Flair, Randy Orton, and Triple H. Triple H was the leader of that group, doing his own feuds with in the world title scene, and sometimes maybe like the lower mid cup scene or something. And then throughout the way, the Evolution would help him keep the belt. But it wasn't always like that. Randy Orton went on to become Intercontinental Champion, and did his own feuds. Batista did his own feuds every now and then. Ric Flair did his own feuds every now and then. Batista and Ric Flair went on to become tag team champions. Ric Flair did do his own feuds now and then, though. I will admit that. Shawn Michaels and so did Batista, but of course, Ric Flair wanted. It was like really the manager of the group, so yeah, I think that was where the Nexus failed. Was no one else in the group really mattered. Um, anything else though? Now let's get to the new Nexus. So CM Punk was on commentary, and CM Punk finally left commentary, and he formed the new Nexus. John Cena, the Nexus tried to make a truce with John Cena. That was a fail. Cena didn't want to trust him, so then he got injured, and then it showed like a tease that CM Punk was joining the Nexus, which did happen. But then and CM Punk said he was going to take over Nexus, but Wade Barrett didn't want that to happen. So then he was like put into like a triple threat cage match between Sheamus, Randy Orton, well, King Sheamus, he was the King then, Randy Orton, and Wade Barrett. Winner got to face Miz at Royal Rumble for the WWE Championship, and if Wade Barrett did not win that match, CM Punk would lead Nexus. But if he won, Wade Barrett still gets to lead Nexus, and CM Punk has to take his orders. This was kind of cool, I thought. I kind of saw it coming, but CM Punk went to help Barrett out of the cage. He took his Nexus armband off and then kicked Barrett onto the floor. So I thought that was actually pretty cool. And then that led to the new Nexus. Wade Barrett did his own thing, which I will get into later. As for the new Nexus, it started out okay. Like, I like how everyone had to take like an initiation to get into the group. And I remember this initiation perfectly. Michael McGillicuddy had to be beat down by every member of the Nexus. Husky Harris had to take 3 lashes from each group and from each member. I do think CM Punk went a little overboard, so David Otunga had to be beat down by Big Show, and he was angry at what happened to him, which we'll get into that because I'm going to get into that later. And then Justin Gabriel and Heath Slater had to beat each other with Singapore with kendo sticks, but they refused, so they left the new Nexus, which was kind of a flaw, but then it made something good, something that could have been good out of it anyways. And then CM Punk was gonna look like it was gonna jump off like the Titantron, but he really didn't. And then they looked okay strong. Like, they didn't look the greatest strong. And I think it was probably too late to save the group. I think they tried to have Punk save the group, but I think the damage had been done. And CM Punk ended up facing John Cena in a match. And the match was interrupted by Mason Ryan, who was big in FCW, which stands for Florida Championship Wrestling. And he ended up joining Nexus. And Mason Ryan was god awful. He looked like Batista. Actually, I thought that. I kind of thought it was Batista. And then it just kind of after the Royal Rumble, I think they were kind of done. I think Randy Orton killed that group. He just punted every member in the head. He punted Husky Harris, Michael McGillicuddy, David Otunga, and Mason Ryan. And then was only left Puff Punk, but then they did come back. and then just beat them, so that just ruined the prestige. They feuded with Kane and Big Show for the tag team championships. That was a fail. But then they got the tag team champions. Michael McGillicuddy and David Otunga ended up winning the tag team championships. They went nowhere with that. Um, what else? Mason Ryan ended up getting injured, so that was bad. Then CM Punk, when he went on this little rant promo, he never came out with Nexus again. Kinda, it was Nexus was pretty much done. The new Nexus was done. So I think Nexus was a pretty epic fail. Like, they could have done great things with Nexus, but they didn't do it. They did do some good things, but they didn't do a bunch of good things. I think there was stuff that they did that could have been good, but was a fail. So I think Nexus was a fail. The core. So this was after Wade Barrett had lost that cage match. He cost Big Show a chance to face, at that time, Edge for the World Championship at the Royal Rumble. And then they had a match on SmackDown, and Wade Barrett teamed up with his old buddies, Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel of Nexus, and then became the core. But there was also the muscle of the group, Ezekiel Jackson. Yeah, and yeah, I guess that was good. It was a good group. They took out They were starting to take people out on SmackDown, and it was good because you had a group on Raw taking out people and a group on SmackDown, so that was cool. But then I don't know. I don't really know. And then you had that rumor that they took out Teddy Long, because I remember Teddy Long wouldn't let him do what they did when they were in the Nexus. And actually, I should mention that there was no leader. They're all equals. Wade Barrett even said they're all equals. There's no leader. And I thought that was cool. And I don't know. I think maybe they should have been the ones to take out Teddy Long instead of Dolph Ziggler and Vicky Guerrero, which just kind of made Dolph look bad. I think they should have been the ones to take out Teddy Long, because it would have made them look a pretty strong group, and it would have made them look to feel them. And then what happened though? Just everything just kind of, it's way did do some good things. They got the tag team championships, and Wade Barrett didn't end up like Slater and Gabriel won them back, and Wade Barrett got the Intercontinental Championship. And every week Ezekiel Jackson would body slam Big Show. Thought that was cool. I think they started to kind of fall after WrestleMania 27 when they lost to Kane, Santino Marella, Kofi Kingston, and Big Show in like 3 seconds. Then they just kind of started to decline. They got into arguments afterwards. They failed to take out The Rock and John Cena. And then what happened afterwards? Now I don't even know where to go from there. Wade Barrett lost. No, actually, he was still the champion. Slater and Gabriel lost the tag team championships, and then Wade Barrett went on to, and then Ezekiel Jackson went on to leave the group, so it was just Barrett, Slater, and Gabriel, and then I don't know. I think they just woke up randomly backstage, and they were just done. That group was just a fail. It could have lasted a lot longer, and yeah, who knows where it would be today, but that group was a fail. Sin Cara, he returned on Raw this Monday, so I hear it's Unigo. It's actually Unigo now, so, but I don't know. Mystico one though, I want to talk about. He made his debut, and I actually did like Sin Cara though. He had that lucha, the lucha libre kind of guy, and I like lucha libre kind of wrestlers, the high flyers, and they did a lot with Sin Cara, I think. Putting him on SmackDown, I think, was better than putting him on Raw, because he had guys to work with on SmackDown. They like the way they dim his lights when his matches are going on. And then, I don't know. And then, he would have, I think they did put him with the right people. Like, they did put him with Tyson Kidd, Daniel Bryan, Chavo Guerrero, which I think that match could have been better over Limit. They kind of squashed Chavo, so And then he went on to be in the Money in the Bank ladder match, and he had like a wellness policy, so I don't know. He had a wellness policy, which I don't even get. Like, he got suspended for 30 days, which kind of stopped him. And then that one in Unico. Then they did that Sin Cara versus Sin Cara feud, which I think could have been a lot better. I honestly think that would have been a lot better. I thought it was fine at first, but I think they ended it a little too soon. I think they could have gone on to either TLC or something. But, yeah, that didn't end up happening. He unmasked and ended up being Unico. And now Unico's back as Sin Cara now, so... what else is a problem? Oh, yeah. Um, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I remember watching this at Survivor Series. Him and Kofi Kingston, doing a traditional Survivor Series match, did a dive, and Sin Cara injured himself. He botched all the time anyways. He always would botch his moves, so he won off a botch one, so yeah, it's just bad. So then he was out for like, I think about till 2012. Came back, and then they started to try to build him back up again. Um, and then they put him with Rey Mysterio, which I thought was fine. I think they were a believable tag team. Both men are luchadors. So then he got injured again. Woohoo! Came back at the Rumble. Then got injured again. Came back on main event. Beat Wade Bailey. Thought we were gonna get an IC championship match. Nothing came of it. Then he got injured again when he and then plated his finger when he did a dive off Alberto Del Rio. And then he came back and now he's Unico. So I think Mystical's gone. Yeah, but that Sin Cara though is I don't really care about him anymore. He can come back so many times, and it's just I think he's gonna injure himself eventually again. I have a feeling, like even with Unico, I have a feeling Unico, who knows? You don't know where this is gonna go. I think Sin Cara was just a fail, and it wasn't WWE's fault. They had some sort of. I think they were trying to put some sort of direction around him, but I think they were afraid to push him because he botched so many moves, and they were afraid he's gonna get injured. So yeah, Sin Cara is definitely a fail. Now this is for TNA James Storm. I have more WWE than TNA because I know more about that. I don't even know. I think James Storm. I remember I started watching TNA. He came back and he was in like the Bound for Glory series, and he like led that series all through 2012. I think he was the leader the whole time. Sometimes Samoa Joe would take his spot, but it was very rarely. And yeah, he was just beating guys. He was on a hot streak, and even before then, he won the world championship. And then he like was feuding with he had a great feud with Bobby Roode. So and then he ended up losing the Bound for Glory series, which wasn't a bad thing. And he ended up continuing his feud with Roode, beat him at Bound for Glory in a street fight. Then he became the number one contender to the World Championship. Lost that. I think that when he lost his contentionship to Roode, well, I guess you could say he was in a feud with Christopher Daniels too, which was pretty good. But then after that, he lost the feud. He was just kind of floundering around. He was just going from random spots, did stupid stuff. Then when AJ Styles came back, and he had a feud with him, and then when that ended, they just did not know where they were going. He got the tag team championships with Gunner, and then what happened? Nothing. Nothing. I don't know. It seems I think Gunner's holding Storm back from being something, getting back in the main event scene. So I don't know if they're still a tag team now, but if they are, then Gunner's just holding Storm back, I think. Then we got Ted DiBiase Jr. He came in and said that in his first match he would win the tag team championships. The World Tag Team Championships, because I remember there were two then. And he did. He won them off Hardcore Holly and Cody Rhodes, and his partner was Cody Rhodes, and it made sense. Both the fathers with WWE, they were like a new legacy. They were called Priceless. It was Ted DiBiase Jr., his father, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, and Cody Rhodes, his father, Dusty Rhodes. So that made sense. Then they lost the championships to John Cena, won them back the next. John Cena and Batista won them back the next week. After that, uh, what else happened? I think they just kind of lost them to Punk and Kofi. They kind of went. They didn't go completely one way. Then they went on to form Legacy with Randy Orton. Um, and then Legacy really went nowhere. It was just Randy Orton's backup like Nexus was, so it was pretty much like Nexus. Looked weak, and then when it came time, everyone thought Ted DiBiase Jr. was going to be the star for Cody Rhodes, which was a nice swerve that Cody Rhodes ended up being big, but Ted DiBiase Jr. was just kind of, I don't know, he got the $1 Million Championship, he looked weak every week, he was in stupid comedy segments, and then lost to Goldust a bunch of times, which wasn't a bad thing, I guess, but then we saw him every now and then, feuded with Cody Rhodes as a babyface, that went nowhere, so I think Ted DiBiase Jr. was just, I think it was just going nowhere. Then we got Dolph Ziggler's world title runs. Now, that actually isn't really, I don't even know why I put that one. That's not really, the first one's WWE's fault. He only held it for like 11 minutes, and then he just lost it, so, to Edge. So they shouldn't have, that should have never even existed, but, but then he won it, and then he won it, they were building it up. He was going to cash in Money in the Bank, and then, oh my gosh. Jack Swagger, I think, screwed over Dolph Ziggler. He won. He went on to give Ziggler a concussion. Of course, it was an accident, but still. And then Dolph Ziggler, I think they just lost faith in him. It's like, you're going to get injured, you don't deserve to hold a championship. And then they just lost it to Del Rio. Now he's just kind of nowhere now. They don't have anything for him. I think they had big plans for Dolph, but then they got that. And then he just lost. He just lost the world championship. Went nowhere afterwards. So Dolph Ziggler was a fail, his run, but it's not Dolph's fault. It's Swagger's fault. And who knows when they'll ever push Dolph again. I'm not gonna really say Miz. I'd say maybe Miz as a babyface because he really wasn't going anywhere, but I don't know. I don't even know. I thought I took it off. Brodus Clay, Funkasaurus. What can you say about it? He was supposed to come back as this monster. Comes back as the Funkasaurus, dancing around with the Funkadactyls, which was, it was kind of cool because it was like you didn't see it coming. I thought he would come back as this monster, but then he came back as the Funkasaurus. It was cool for a little while. Then it just got really stale. He would like always squash someone, and then yeah, I don't know. I just don't. I'm not a big fan of Brodus Clay. Um, I think they are turning him heel, so then it won't be a fail. But still, they could have made him a monster a while ago. I mean, if he was a monster, he could have done something really special. I think could have made him like this unstoppable monster like Ryback. So, yeah. All right, so we have Lord Tensai, Albert, and A-Train. So those are the guys that I'm talking about. They've had to change his name up so many times. That's how sad. That's how sad that is. Like they've had to change his name so many times when he comes back. First he's Albert, then he's Adrian, then he's Lord Tensai, and then he's just Tensai, and then he's now he's Sweet Tea. So it's just I think he was a fit. I think when he came back as Lord Tensai, that was the chance. That was his last. That was like pretty much the last chance they really had. Um, he beat John Cena, the face of the WWE, and he beat David. No, not David Otunga. He probably did beat him at some point, but he beats your WWE champion CM Punk. Wasn't that enough? He could have been big right there. You could have built him up, have him beat more guys, and then boom, done. But no, you had him lose. Losing to John Cena wasn't that bad, but then he just started losing to Sheamus, Tyson Kidd. He lost to Santino. And And then like I guess he lost, and then he lost a match to um. And then he ended up being put in a lingerie match. Oh my gosh, it was that bad. Um, that made Tensai look really bad. They took the Lord Tensai off, which kind of hurt the name. It was like an epic name, and then they just took it off. So I don't like the fact that they did that. And then they took, I think they took his name again. I don't know. I think after that they took him and then made him Sweet Tea, made him dance with Brodus Clay, and then he was just done right there. He bossed moves on Ryback, so maybe it was kind of his own fault, but still. I think Lord Tensai had a lot to him when he came in. A-Train, I don't know, because I wasn't really... But still, A-Train was a fail too, because he always got squashed by Undertaker. Someone. He always got squashed by someone. Albert ended up dancing with Scotty 2 Hotty, so... Pretty much the same case here with Sweet Tea. Muhammad Hassan. This wasn't probably WWE's fault. I think they had some plans for Muhammad Hassan. But then, look what happened. Look what happened to Muhammad Hassan. He came in with I thought he had a great... it was kind of like a... It was kind of like an Arabian gimmick. Came in with like the pelt on his head, and then go saying and they had like a manager, Navari. He like was beating everybody. He actually was not that bad of a wrestler. He beat like Chris Benoit, Shelton Benjamin. He did beat WQ. I mean, they actually didn't have him lose clean to Batista, so that's a good thing. He beat Big Show. And then like they had but then I think and then he had like that move, the camel clutch, which I thought was a pretty good move. And then I know what messed him up. He was feuding with Taker, and I think he was supposed to be an Undertaker at the Great American Bash. Get him one with the world title, and then there you go. But nope. He ended up because I guess they did like that. I remember those masked assassins came out and attacked Undertaker. And I guess everyone thought that was too offensive to consider what happened at 9/11, and they just killed him off because they didn't want him to get bomb threats like Sergeant Slaughter did. So, but I don't know. I think the fans kind of I don't understand. But 9/11 was in 2001, and it was in 2005. It was 4 years ago. It wasn't like WWE jumped right out of it and did it again. I think that what you could have had I think the fans would have would have gotten over it by now. And yeah, there's just some wrestling fans take things too personally, I think. Like if that mother that got mad when Del Rio whipped up a sign, it's like, wow. I remember I went to a Top Rope promotion show and the ladies band insulted some woman and wanted to go backstage and fight him. It's like, you can't take criticism. Don't go to wrestling events. If you don't want your kid to, if you're gonna complain about the fact that your kid's sign got ripped, don't take him to it. Don't tell him to make a sign, or don't bring him to wrestling events, or don't go with him. Have the dad go. And it's a wrestling, and heels do that all the time to make themselves more heels. Like it's actually kind of an honor because it's like they're looking at your sign. It's not like they're doing any disrespect. Like, I think fans just take things too personally. That was mostly when Sergeant Slaughter was anti-America, all the fans took that too personally. So it's like, but then no one takes it personally. But CM Punk is pretty much shooting on you fans when he calls you guys fat for going to eBay. Like, wow, it's just like, oh, you love Punk, but then when Del Rio whips a sign, it's like you guys get all pissed about it. It's like that some fans expect WWE to be PG all the time. It's like, oh, it's bullying. You guys are anti-bullying, so why is he bullying? So it's like, and the fans, sometimes the fans do say stuff that probably offends WWE superstars, but they're professional about it. So it's like, wow. Remember last year when Wade Barrett got injured? And they had like this video package coming up, and he was supposed to return. I thought he was going to do something big. Nope. He just came back and squashed Yoshitatsu.
He could have kind of come back. I remember Sheamus was a world champion after he beat Del Rio at SummerSlam. You could have had him come back and attack Sheamus, lay him out, attack Randy Orton, because I remember what wasn't doing anything. Something. But no, you just had him come back and squash jobbers. So, and now he's like in nowhere now. He's pretty much nothing. Kofi Kingston. They didn't start out good with Kofi, I'll admit. They put him in the mid card, which is where you should start. He got a win with the Intercontinental Championship, got a win with the U.S. title, and had that Jamaican gimmick, but then he kind of switched back to his real life gimmick. I think this is where they should have pulled the trigger and done something with Kofi. Kofi Kingston feuded with Randy Orton, who was the WWE champion at that time. I remember he always got the upper hand on Randy Orton. He poured paint on his car. He beat his legacy members in a tag team match. Didn't want to be bullied by Randy Orton. Beat him in a Survivor Series match. Laid him out in Madison Square Garden by giving him a boom drop through the table. Beat him on Raw. He was on fire, and I understand maybe kind of why they had Orton win the last match. Probably because they wanted Orton to look credible since he's like a former WWE champion. I think Orton probably could have redeemed himself. Like Chris Jericho loses a lot, and he still somehow does redeem himself. Like nothing's gonna change that. John Cena can probably lose if John Cena. Be honest with you, now that I think about it, I know this has nothing to do with this. Randy Orton, I think should win at TLC. Um, I think John Cena, no matter win or lose, he still has everything to gain. He's done everything. Randy Orton, I guess you could say he's done everything, but I think it benefits Orton more if he wins. John Cena doesn't benefit him at all. He's still gonna be the face of the WWE in real life. He's still gonna be John Cena. He's still gonna probably be the main event of the show. He's still gonna be John Cena. Nothing's gonna change. It won't change John Cena. It's not gonna hurt Cena at all if he loses. It will hurt Orton if he loses. So. But anyhow, like I said, like that's pretty much the same case with the Kofi Kingston thing. It would not have really hurt Orton that bad if he lost. So, honest with you, I think Kofi should have won. And then I think Kofi Kingston decided to go down the ranks. He went back to the mid code. Um, he went right back to the mid code. Actually, to be honest with you, that's pretty much how you say it. Right back to the mid code. He's barely even in the mid code anymore. He's just kind of like a mid code that's like a jobber kind of. Like he's the guy that I think they go to if they want someone to look strong. Go have a match with Del Rio so Del Rio can look strong. Go have a match with Mark Henry so Mark Henry can look strong. So it's like I don't know. Great Khali came in as a heel. I remember my friend told me, well, my ex-friend, that he like dominated Undertaker at Judgment Day. Lost to Undertaker, had nothing for him. Won the World Championship. Mediocre world title run. Now he's just a baby face that can't wrestle anymore and dances. So, yeah, he's Khali right there. Oh, R-Truth is a heel. Now, babyface R-Truth at first wasn't that bad. I mean, he was still getting it up there, but they turned him heel. I remember he had won but didn't win. But him and John Cena were gonna go in the main event in a cage match with Miz. And they hyped it up that he had never had a WWE Championship match. And then what happened was John Morrison came out and took his spot. Morrison won the match, and R-Truth turned heel. He went off on John Morrison, beat the crap out of him. And then he turned heel, and it was the start of something new. That's when the little Jimmy thing got started. He was just crazy. I think he was actually a little crazier than AJ Lee. AJ Lee, yeah, but he was crazy, and it was working for him. I thought he was getting a ton of heat, just laying out Morrison every week, laid out Rey Mysterio, laid out John Cena. So I think it was working for him. I remember he always and then he lost to John Cena, which didn't hurt him that bad. Um, and then he talked to the little Jimmys next to him. I remember. Um, and then he had a tag team with Miz. I think then they put him as a babyface because he got a wellness policy, and then he just lost, and then that's the wellness policy I think screwed him over. Um, and then he went back to babyface, and look where he is now. He's doing absolutely nothing. Woohoo! Went on to win tag team championships. He is nothing now. Nothing. Same thing with Zack Ryder. He knew he was probably going to get released soon. So he made this YouTube channel to get himself over. He was doing and I think he did a good job at it. Zack Ryder pushed himself. No one pushed Zack Ryder. He made himself a star. And he was over with the crowd. Everyone chanted, "We want Ryder" when The Rock was out there. So if The Rock's out there and they're chanting for from like someone like Zack Ryder, that is saying something. Then he just looped. And then WWE just kind of he was getting over, wins the U.S. champ. Everyone wanted him to win that U.S. championship. Remember, he posted a petition on Twitter to get a U.S. championship match, and he did it. Won the championship, and then he got just for 2 weeks, lost it. Then he kind of started to go down in the jobber ranks, with Kane, because Kane took him out every week. He just started losing, and now he's just kind of back to where he was before. Woohoo! Justin Gabriel could be like a good mid-carder. Not. Mordecai and Kevin Thorne. Mordecai was like a religious Undertaker. He came out kind of like Undertaker, except he came out white. And I think they could have done an Undertaker-Mordecai feud. But nope, they didn't do that. And then he was gone. Came back as Kevin Thorne, as like a vampire gimmick. That was cool. Didn't go any further with that. So that's pretty much. And then I'm going to add Gangrel, same thing. Vampire gimmick. You would think like these like scary gimmicks would get over. I'm saying his name, but the Boogeyman. Oh my gosh, the Boogeyman. Like they even like did a SVR 2009 a feud between Undertaker and the Boogeyman. Wow. So it's like it seems like that WWE has a lot of faith in the characters, but they don't like follow through with those characters. Remember when Vince McMahon, they had draft 2007, they had the Vince McMahon appreciation night. Everybody hated him. Went to walk to his limousine and it blew up and supposedly he died. I wonder what they were going to do with that. Because it's not really their fault that it failed. Because then a real life situation came when Chris Benoit ended up dying, so they wanted to pay tribute to him. So Vince had to go on TV and pretty much give away the whole angle. So that's. I mean, it's not that bad. Like it was a loss because we lost Chris Benoit, and I was sad. And I actually think he was an amazing wrestler. I still think he'd be wrestling in WWE today. And I think he probably would be a big time superstar like Eddie Guerrero would be today. Maybe like John Cena level, so so then I wonder what they were gonna do with that. My prediction is they were probably, I think, either at SummerSlam 2007, when it was Randy Orton versus John Cena, who had held the title forever, John Cena. They were going to have the ref take a bump, and some masked guy come out and cost John Cena the championship, and Vince join up with Randy Orton, kind of like what it's kind of like now. Either that or Vince music plays, he comes out and screws John Cena out of the championship. Somehow they would have had him come out and shock the world, so that would have been epic. And then I have his son storyline. Remember, he was supposed to have like a son. That would have made like somebody's career if they were like the son of Mr. McMahon. He would have made sure you got something out of it. But then it ended up giving the Hornswoggle. We lost the Cruiserweight Championship. It was bad. I think maybe the son would have made Mr. Kennedy because he was called Mr. Vincent Kennedy. Or, can't really say MVP because it's not being racist. MVP's black. The McMahons are white. Wouldn't make sense for him to have a black son, so that really wouldn't make sense. I can't really think of anyone else that would have fit that role. I think Kennedy would have fit that role. Jeff Hardy, no. So, and I guess you could technically say it's an illegitimate son, so maybe MVP could have been the son. Um, and I don't really remember who was on the roster at that time. Like, I remember some people, but I don't remember who else they were really behind. Drew McIntyre. Let's take a look at Drew McIntyre now. Okay, oh, it doesn't really show it actually. But Drew McIntyre came in and Vince McMahon hyped him as a future World Heavyweight Champion. That's actually not, that was actually good. Like, if you have Vince McMahon behind you, your career is gonna go far. And he started to go far. I think they kind of pushed him a little too quick. They gave him the IC Championship, a position that should have been Dolph Ziggler's at that time, but he beat John Morrison for the Intercontinental Championship. Defended it a bunch of times. Got in the Money in the Bank ladder match. He was a star in those matches. He ended up losing the Intercontinental Championship to Kofi Kingston, but he was still making himself look credible. 2011, he was pushed for the World Championship in the Elimination Chamber match. Like, probably like one of those things you knew they weren't gonna win, but he did great in that match. Well, I didn't see it, but I heard that from people that it wasn't good until Drew McIntyre got in the match, so that's saying something right there. Then he just kind of went down to jobber mode, to be honest with you. Just losing to everybody. Ezekiel Jackson, Justin Gabriel. It's bad. It was bad. And then now he's in 3MB, and I don't think he's ever going to recover from 3MB. Jinder Mahal's the same way. He had the Muhammad Hassan gimmick, had Khali on him, like a big bodyguard. That would have been good. He was like a big manager for Jinder Mahal. Then he lost Khali. He was kind of looking credible at times, but then he went to 3MB. It ruined him too. So, yeah, it's just it was bad. It was really bad for McIntyre and Mahal. It's mostly McIntyre. And as for Booker T, I put WrestleMania 19. So I remember they had built up Booker T as like the street thug that no one that no one would thought that he would get to the World Championship. Then he wins a battle to go to face Triple H for the World Championship. And it would have been a great moment if he had won that championship and became the new champion. That would have made his career. So I think Booker T should have won that championship. Alex Riley he was like an apprentice for Miz. Turned face and attacked Miz, and then he could have gone far, win Money in the Bank and hold the WWE Championship or hold like the United States Championship, and now he's doing commentary. So, yeah, Alex Riley could have been something special. Austin Aries World Championship one. Remember, he just turned heel officially on Jeff Hardy, and then and then they just took the title off him right away. So that was bad. Like, I've already kind of covered this, so I think they should have given him a one as heel champion for a while. Aces and Eights. They came in as a big mass group, and they were taking out everybody. But I can't really say where they really failed, because in my opinion, they took out Hulk Hogan, and then they wanted full access into the arena. And then they won. They beat Bully Ray and Stin. And, what else? And then, let's see. And then, I guess you could technically say that it was, like, I think it kind of was failing, because Devon ended up getting unmasked, and then it was kind of, they weren't really doing anything. Doc got a match, which was Luke Gallows, and it's just, oh my gosh, Doc, Mike Knox, oh my gosh, Mike Knox. What the fuck, Mike Knox? WWE, I can't believe TNA even hired Mike Knox. WWE probably didn't know much about Mike Knox. Maybe he was good in like his independent scene, but like, he just suck ass in WWE. Mike Knox, I think, should just leave TNA. I would get rid of him and put him in like a kitchen to make food for like a rich guy. Just be a slave to someone. Then we have like Garrett Bischoff, who was awful. Wes Briscoe, I don't really know is good because I've never really seen him wrestle. Um, I don't know. Yeah, what else? Mr. Anderson was only in the group because they didn't know what to do with him. Uh, D'Lo Brown can't wrestle anymore. Taz was just a commentator, which I will admit it was good for them to have that voice in the commentary to put them over. So I will admit that was actually kind of cool. But Taz wouldn't always talk about aces and eights when the match had nothing to do with them. So it's like, wow. What else? Bully Ray being the president was cool. I think and then D'Lo Brown became the vice president, but then he ended up losing a match, and then he lost his cuts, and then he was like a slave to them. So then he had like Brooke Tessmacher, and then I think Brooke Tessmacher kind of broke up aces and eights. So, but before Bully Ray even joined the group, they would look weak every single week. I don't think there was a week where they looked strong. Um, Aces and eights looked weak, and I don't even know how they kept that group going that long. So, and then when Bully Ray joined, they looked a little strong. They had started to look strong, but the damage, I think, and then they started to lose their members, and you knew the time was coming. They couldn't even last a year with that group, so that's pretty sad. Like at least next didn't last a year. Yeah, they kind of did actually, but um, the Shield a year, and it's still looking strong. So that's saying something right there. Let's see if the Wyatt family can last a year. 3MB, I guess, has lasted a year, but that's just a joke group anyway. So, but anyhow, and I guess also you could say that when Taz would talk good about them, what was there good to talk about since they look weak every week? So it's like, wow. Let's see who else. The Dixie Carter and AJ Styles. I remember they had like the um Christopher bad influence Christopher Daniels and Kazarian Williams that they were having like an affair. Turned out that they were just helping some like drug addict that was never seen again on TV, and I don't know, kind of went nowhere with that. So, Mr. Kennedy, I just talked about Mr. Anderson. Um, it was kind of his fault because he got injured a lot, but then it was kind of and he got the wellness policy and everything. But look at him. He was beating Undertaker. He was beating Chris Benoit, Rey Mysterio, Batista, former world champions. And I think he was going to be the son, like as I said. He got the money in the bank, and then they thought he got injured. And I guess they thought he was going to be injured for a long while, more than a year, over a year. So then they had to take it off him. And then he just kind of went nowhere after that. Got released because he did a move too rough on Randy Orton, and then I think he had too many shots. So Kennedy failed. MVP, I don't even know how he went wrong with him. He came in, won the U.S. Championship, and he was having matches too. He had a special entrance to him. I mean, Kennedy had that microphone, by the way, when he would grab the mic and say, Mr. Kennedy. MVP had like a cool blimp. He had the fireworks. He had that 1, 2, hear the clock ticking, tick, tock. You better stop, and I'm coming. Nobody to stop, nobody to hold, nobody to control. He's coming. There's nobody to stop him, nobody to control him, because MVP is coming. Yeah, he's coming. MVP is coming. And then, like, he won the U.S. Championship. He held that for a while, lost it to Matt Hardy. And then they had some sort of direction for him, But then you went on this, like, random losing streak, though, too. And then you won it. They put him as a babyface. Won back the U.S. Championship, lost it to Kofi Kingston, and then his career was just done, killed right there. So, I don't know. And they released him when they gave him new music. So, anytime a wrestler now, I guess, gets new music, it still doesn't mean they have faith in him because they could just release him and see him like, get out of here. So, he actually requested to be released, and I don't blame him. Kane remasking in 2008, and I remember he had like a burlap sack. And we thought there was going to be his mask in there, but it was just Rey Mysterio, and it just turned into a gay-ass feud. Curtis Axel came in as this Paul Heyman guy, beat in Triple H, John Cena, Chris Jericho. Let's see, who else main eventers did he beat? That's about it. But those were still big guys. And then went on to win the IC championship, hold it pretty good, and then at the end, I think when the Punk got into that Heyman feud, it seems like that they had Punk squash him kind of every time. He would always lose to like R-Truth and stuff. So, yep, squash fest. Wow. So, and same thing with Ryback. It's not the Paul Heyman guy thing, but he came in. I think they put him against like a main eventer too quick. He started squashing jobbers, and he should have had him move up the ranks and hold mid card guys, have them squash like Mahals, the McIntyres, the Slaters, stuff like that. And then have him move up to like the feud with Miz for the IC Championship, beat him for the IC Championship, have him hold that for a while, and then just have him be stripped of the championship because he's winning too many matches or something. Then you have him go for the WWE Championship, face John Cena, and John Cena beats him. Or doesn't beat him. And then you could make Ryback a big monster, though, since John Cena stopped him. Or have, like, Punk stop him. But no, they didn't do that. They had him go against these jobbers, feud with Punk, and then he lost his first match, which made sense because they didn't want to take the title off Punk. Then he lost at Survivor Series, which, yet again, they didn't want to take the title off Punk. They lost to the Shield, which made sense. But then he lost I think he should have won the Royal Rumble over Cena if they were the last two, because they could have done something special with Ryback, maybe face Big Show for the World Championship and shell shock him and have that World Championship moment. But then they had him go again. But then he lost at the Elimination Chamber, which again they want to make the Shield look strong. But then he lost to Mark Henry, which was kind of weird because then he just went on to face Cena for the WWE Championship, but Mark Henry just kind of was gone. So they should have just had him beat Mark Henry. And then he lost to John Cena twice. Then he beat Chris Jericho, which was a step. And then he became a Paul Heyman guy. Became like a bully, but then he got his name changed to Ryback. Lost to Punk twice, and then he just lost to Mark Henry at Survivor Series. So Ryback's lost at a ton of pay-per-views. And I know they have to like do something to rehash them. John Morrison, I think in 2011 more because in 2010 because he was beating Sheamus, he had a great Falls Count Anywhere match with Miz. Maybe instead of doing Miz Rock Cena at Mania 28, they should have done it in 27. So and then because Miz was kind of overshadowed, and then they could have done Miz Morrison at Mania instead. And have Morrison maybe win the championship, get like a run for a month with the championship. I think that would have been cool. So, Christian, hold the championship for 5 days. What more can you say about it? Got bitched out with the one more match stuff. Matt Morgan, they had some plans for him. They never like followed suit. So, for TNA, I don't know. See, in wrestling, there are those guys that they do tend to fail with. Some of it's their fault, some of it's not their fault. For example, one of WWE's faults, Ryback and Curtis Axel, MVP, not really Mr. Ken. Oh, and we're going to add, actually, by the way, Mr. William Regal, because he won the King of the Ring, was the Raw GM, and I think that he was going to win the WWE Championship, but he didn't because he ended up getting suspended, so then they had to take him out of the GM role, but yeah, so that was Regal's fault right there. But yeah, then you had, but yeah, so yeah, but there were some of them out the faults, like the William Regal, the Vince McMahon's death situation. I guess you could technically say that some of them wasn't their fault since Kennedy ended up getting injured, but then you could have given it to MVP or something. Kane remasking, they could have just brought it like his masks back. So, what else? Wade Barrett's return, that was their fault. But wait, it's good to not their fault. The Vince McMahon's death, because then Chris Benoit really died. So, Sin Cara, because it's Sin Cara's fault. Mr. Kennedy. But as for TNA, Aces and Eights was their fault. But yeah, there's so many wrestling fails, and it's just kind of sad to see them fail. But that's pretty much it for this video. I'll be back. I'm gonna upload this tomorrow because I don't think, I'm not gonna have time to get it up tonight. But that's pretty much it, guys. See you later.